racism. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because I was sent a article about a 49-year-old black man who is fairly well to do. He's relocating to Puerto Rico. Sold his house last month, and so they'll be gone. Him and his family. Very nice man, very educated. He has a daughter that's a nurse. He has a son who is an IT professional, and his third son is in college in New Jersey. So he's pretty much done with raising kids and everything like that. So the school systems in Puerto Rico won't be an issue for him. He's decided to leave the mainland of America and go to Puerto Rico because of one reason, and that is racism. And, I've thought about it myself, getting a job overseas to get away from Americanized racism, which is horrible. And the reason why it's horrible is because of black people. There are some black people who love white people so much that, if you can call it love, I really don't think it's love, but what it is from a heaven and hell point of view, is to make sure that most white people end up in hell, especially the redneck, the hick, the hillbilly, because the greatest commandment is that you love God with your whole heart, your whole mind, and your whole spirit. And the second commandment like it is that you love one another. So black people didn't create themselves, they were created by God. So when a white person, whether they're a hick or a Harvard graduate, when they are mean to a black person, that gets them one step closer to hell, and they definitely aren't going to repent from it. Some white people do repent from it before they die, and the only unforgivable sin is blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. So white people can repent from being a racist. Many of them do when they get old, but there's still the repercussions for it. So I don't know how they pay for their racism, whether they are reincarnated as a black person in one of the worst black families that was desecrated by racism. I don't know if they get it back by being born into a black family that they actually personally caused problems for, but you reap what you sow. So just because you repent and say, Lord, forgive me for being a racist, for mistreating people because of the color of their skin, it really doesn't get you off the hook. So the black people who sit by there and allow it, because they so-called love white culture so much that if it's white, it's all right. They're the reason why we're having the problems that we're having. And Trump has been around people like Omarosa and all of that, and Omarosa failed as a black person because she allowed this man to continue to be racist. People like Steve Harvey, Kanye West, how they really feel about black is it's a shame, and it's truly how they feel about whites, because they feel that they can use white prejudice to benefit themselves, and in return it's a double-edged sword, because by them licking white racist boots, it benefits them, and it also ensures that the white person will continue on its route to hell. And by continually mistreating black people, because of the color of their skin. Meanwhile, God is looking. The angels are looking. And it's not going to go unpunished. I always talk about, I want to keep my name in the book of life, right? So part of that means I can't be racist. Even the white girl in class who said the N-word yesterday, she apologized after everybody was gone. After everybody was gone from the class, even if it does benefit me, because I know that that's not the way that God blesses me. God don't bless me through the sins of other people. You know, I'm supposed to show love too. As a Black person, we're required to show love as well. And when someone does something wrong for somebody else, towards somebody else, or towards yourself, if you know better, you can't sit there and be like, well, it ain't none of my business. It is, because you saw it. You saw it, and your response to it, it has been recorded, and it will be counted against you or for you, depending on what you did. And, you know, it's so many people that think that they are going to get salvation by their benchmarks, and it's not. And that's why Jesus said, many will say, verily I say to you, many will say to me in that day, did I not prophesy in your name and expel demons? I never knew you. Get away from me, you workers of lawlessness. What's the definition of lawlessness? Look it up, Google it. But I would hasten to think that lawlessness includes aiding and abetting. If you weren't the actual culprit, if you saw it and did nothing about it, then you're guilty. And that's being recorded. I told these Mormons who came by my house, I said, I know what racism is. It's a reflex. It's a reflex. It's something that you do without even thinking, like breathing. It's a reflex, honey. It's not something, it's something that just comes over them. It's just something that comes over them, an overwhelming hatred for somebody that they don't even know. It is a reflex. Now, why would God put in a person, in their very nature, a trigger that will guarantee that they go to hell? Why would God do that? Okay? There's a reason why he gives a person white skin. And then he makes them have that reflex for hate. I don't know, but let me tell you something about God. He don't make no mistakes. And if he gives you white skin, honey, you think that's so that you could have a big house, so somebody won't call you the N-word, so that you won't get bullied, so that, no, white people go through a lot of stuff too. But God has added something special. And not just for white people, for other people too. There's other races that have issues with treating other people fairly and decently. I'm just so grateful to God that, you know, I don't have white skin, number one. Number two, being able to have a good credit and have other white people doing unfair things to so-called bless me, which all they're doing is making sure that they end up in hell. You're doing something that's inappropriate. There's rules. There's laws. I've talked to, on the flip side, Black people who enjoy white people being racist because they don't like Black people themselves. That's right. Black people who are racist against Black people. Black people who will sell out their own mama to be there for a white person. That's not love. That's some other kind of sickness. That's some other kind of a mark that God has put on certain Black people. And I believe that he does that because he know the whole story. He know the whole story. That's why I love my family. I love my God. I love even my enemies. I pray for them. That's the reason why I'm making this video. It's because I always have been concerned about people, even ever since I was a little kid. I don't believe that it is something that can be taught. It is something that I was born with. It's the way that my heart is made. I want people to be happy. I don't want people to sin. I don't want people to do underhanded things. I stopped watching Kaya because she was saying how Black people be scamming the system or whatever. I stopped watching her because I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. Because this whole world is running just the way God wants it to run. It's running just the way God wants it to run. It's not running in opposition to what he wants. Believe that. So it was his will for Trump to be in there. That's why I don't curse him out and I don't do all that other stuff. Do I agree with what he's doing? No. But I know that Trump didn't wake Trump up this morning. You heard me? Trump did not wake up Trump this morning. And neither did white nationalists, neither did Nazis, neither did his base, neither did Fox News, neither did. If God wanted to strike that man dead, he'd be dead. If God didn't want him to get up in the morning, he wouldn't get up. So if God woke the man up for whatever reason, then I'm going to be cool with that. You know, I got my mission. Okay, my mission is to love God with my whole heart, whole mind, and whole spirit. The next commandment is love other people. Hey, T. Lee Jones, I'm over here. It's according to God's purpose. That's what I was saying. Racism, it ain't by mistake. It's not by mistake. I agree. God is real love. But this is what I was saying. When Jesus said the first commandment is for us to love God with our whole heart, whole mind, and whole spirit. And the second is that we love one another. If anyone says that they love God, but they mistreat their fellow man, they're a liar. I'm not stuck on it. I'm not. I am keeping it moving. You know what I'm going to do today? I'm studying. Girl dropped the N-word in class yesterday, so I opted out of going to regular class, and I am doing this online. So I'm still at class, even though I'm not at class. I'm still keeping it moving. I don't worry about racism or anything like that. All I'm trying to do is just give my perspective on it, you know, for those who are curious about it. I know, but God's will be done. That's all I can say about it. It's not just white and black racism. There's black on black racism. There's white on white racism. I have white friends who hate Hicks. I'm from Texas, and there were some Hicks that were very nice to me. You know, and I was very nice. I was very nice to them, you know, but it's true. There's the Hatfields and the McCoys, they both Hicks. Okay. They're both Hicks and they can't stand each other. They're always fighting. Their kids hate the other one. I believe that God knows exactly what's going on. He knows all about this racism situation. Everything is being recorded. That's why I was saying about the book of life and the book of judgment and the book of death. Everything is being recorded. There is an account with everybody's name on it, and all of your deeds and stuff is going in there. It's going in there, honey. And I just I know. I heard that what Putin said. I know. His whole thing is that his hands are looking at that. Talk is cheap. And Putin is good. Putin cares about Russia. Best believe that. Even though Trump doesn't. Trump doesn't care about America. That's the bottom line. Trump cares about the Nazi people or skinheads. He don't care. I know. It's a mess. We'll see what happens by Friday. We'll see what happens by Friday. All I'm trying to do is not get myself caught up in the mess. There's a friend of mine. They're not. That's the thing. They're not. Most of them are not. Most of them really do believe in the country. Most of them would not do what Trump is doing. Most of them would not. The really worst people among us, they're a small minority. What we have more so is a bunch of people who just be like, glad it ain't me. They can see somebody else being tortured, being treated unfairly, being lied on, and they're just so grateful that they're not the one being picked on or bullied or mistreated. That's what we have the greatest majority of. People who just don't want their life to be interrupted in any way by what's happening to somebody else. That's just what happens. So that's why somebody like Trump shouldn't have been voted into the White House, but he was, and people are marching and all of that, but they're not marching for impeachment yet. But it's just Wednesday. And we just have to see what's going to happen, but the everyday American, when you see somebody being mistreated or whatever, how does that make you feel on the inside? Do you have a reflex to do something about it? The way that racists have a reflex in them to hate, just on sight. They hate immediately. It's a reflex. It's a reflex in them. It's not something that they can readily control. That's why Roseanne. I know. I looked at the diversity council for my company, and there was 2 Black women. Everybody else was white, or 2 Black women, not 1 Black man, no young people at all on the committee. I know that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying earlier in my live before you came on. That's what it comes down to. That's why I made the decision that I made in class yesterday when the white girl dropped the N-bomb in class. I couldn't just let it slide because I don't want to be a part of what she just did. So I have a decision to make, a choice to make. If I really love her, then I just be like, oh, wait, knowing that it's not all right. It's not okay. So I had to call on it, you know? I know that. I know that. And I've spoken to that. I've spoken to other Black people. You know what they did? They laughed in my face. The Black racists. Yep, they laughed in my face. Same way with the NAACP. They are for Black people who have doctorates, masters. They are not for the blue collar Black person. You know, what can you say? Is God knows everything that's going on. Okay. Humans, certain humans, it's not really the skin, it's not really anything like that, but there could be something, because the reason why I say that is because I'm from Texas. A lot of people who would stick up for me was Hicks against other Hicks who would say things about me. You know, the kids who bullied me the worst were dark-skinned Black people. Really dark-skinned Black girls would bully me and threaten to beat me up and stuff. I had to learn how to fight in Texas, okay? I had to learn how to fight to defend myself. The girls who ignored me were the light-skinned Black girls. You know, they were lighter than me. They didn't have nothing to do with me. They didn't want to have nothing to do with me. The Black Christians didn't like me because I was being raised as a Jehovah's Witness. So the Black Christian girls who were in choir and all of that, they didn't like me. You know, that was my mom's decision. I obeyed my mom. I went to the Kingdom Hall. I did, even though I didn't agree with it, I obeyed my mom and I respected my mom. That was it. You know? So Black Catholics do not like Black Southern Baptists. That's the way that I saw it. When it comes to white people, when I was working at PricewaterhouseCoopers, there was white people who came from a very good home as far as money and class, old money. And they hated the white people who were the accountants, the CPAs, who were first generation in their family going to college, getting their accounting degree and passing the CPA exam. The old money white people were just like, you know, they dismissed the CPAs like that, you know, like they were a very small consequence. And the white CPAs hated the old money white people, hated them. And so that's what you have with Trump. his dad was a pimp here in Seattle. He used to bring women up here for these ship-faring guys, shipbuilders, to have prostitutes. That's who Donald Trump's dad was. That's why he kept a low profile in New York. He got the money to get into real estate from being a pimp, from prostitution. And so Donald Trump, that $1 million that he got when he came of age, that money came from that prostitution. So he's new money. In New York, they looked down on him. That wasn't Black people. That was white people. That was Jewish people in New York who looked down upon the Trumps and thought that they were completely beneath them and crass, and they treated him like dirt because they didn't care nothing about his money. He was new money. His money came from prostitution. They wasn't for it. Donald Trump has a lot more in common with the Kennedys than he does with Barack Obama or even the Clintons, because the Kennedys got their money from running hooch. That's what their dad did. I don't know. All I know is people can find a million reasons to hate other people, you know, who haven't did anything to them. They judge. Again, that do not judge folks. They do. You know, you're not supposed to judge people. You're not supposed to, you know, you're supposed to love one another. You're supposed to love God, you know. So that's what I do. And I see the examples before me of how not to be when it comes to racism. I don't have time for it. Is there something that I like? Yeah, sure. You want me to tell you what I don't like? I'm going to tell you what I don't like. Kids. I don't like children. And I'm going to tell you why. I was a mom. I raised my kids. It was hard. It was hard. The hardest thing I've ever did in my life was being a mom, because when it comes to protection and providing for them, no matter what it was that I was trying to train, yes, honey, I was trying to train my children to do the right thing and to be kind to other people and all of that. And other people were teaching their kids to steal from my kids. Steal their tennis shoes that I worked hard for. I wasn't on government assistance and I wasn't on housing. I worked every single day at PricewaterhouseCoopers, honey, and it was not easy. It wasn't easy. These same little children, you know, their parents were teaching them to steal, teaching them to bully. There was one mother who I heard her daughters were going to play baseball, and the daughter was like, "Mom, should we do the hard ball or the softball?" And the mother said, "Who's going to be pitching?" "Yeah, use the hard ball. And when you hit the ball, try to hit her." That's what I can't be around children who I don't want to judge and say, "Oh, this kid is bad, this kid is good." I don't, because I don't want to interact with them. I don't want to get caught in it. I don't want to be, you know, a part of it at all. It's not the same as racism, but it's just, those are my feelings. You know, like some people are just like, "Oh, a baby, blah, blah, blah." I'm not. I can't. There's, I have wonderful, wonderful memories of raising my kids. And it was really, really very beautiful, but it was really very hard. And so many things that I didn't see. I didn't know that it would happen to me as a parent and to my kids. You know, teachers lying on my kids, other children lying on my kids, other children stealing from my children. You know, I bought my children, you know, different things, you know, for their own enjoyment and for their quality of life, and have other kids, you know, steal from my kids, lie on my kids. Children, other little kids that were being molested at home, molested my kids, you know, telling them about sex and stuff like that. And my kids play RuneScape, and I had old, you know, alcoholic, whatever people, gamers who were on the RuneScape game, trying to find out from my kids about my job, asking my kids where I work, it's just too much. I would never do it again. I love my children, but I would never, ever, ever do it again. If, you know, some people say, well, if you had a chance to do it all over again, would you? the answer is no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I thought that all I had to do was just love my children, respect them, raise them appropriately to respect God and respect themselves and respect other people. And, everything would be great. And it wasn't. Those things still happen. My son still got jumped on and in school, maybe homeschool is better, but I don't know. I tried to homeschool my kids. My kids didn't want to be homeschooled. They wanted to go to school. I wanted my son not to worry about a job or anything like that. Focus on school, get scholarships and stuff. He went and got a job behind my back. And then was a part of a big picketing thing. He got the job and then they decided to go on strike at his job. So he had to be a part of that. That was his first experience working in a job situation, was being on a picket line. It's and all the effort and the love that I put into my kids, I would hope that I believe that it's good, because they never ended up being felons and going to whatever it is. I can't even think what it is, juvenile. Killed their friends. There was none of that black on black crime, hate stuff. My kids didn't do any of that type of thing, so maybe it worked out, maybe it worked out in a way. But I gotta tell you, I still have concern, for my grandchildren. I have concern for my daughter-in-law. I'm concerned about her being out with the kids and a police stop her, because I know the police will kill her in front of my grandchildren because she's black. Probably. I'm here in the parking lot. I'm getting ready to go into Starbucks to get me some coffee. I don't have creamer at home, so I didn't make my own coffee, and I gotta study for this class. But yeah, I'm sitting up here in my car. Somebody could call 911 on me right now. The good thing about it here is most of the police officers in my city know me. They know my truck. They know me. I have my concealed weapons permit. Well, it's a concealed pistol permit here. So I'm not concerned about any, white person here getting too froggy, wanting to do something to me. I'm not concerned about any black person here wanting to do something to me, whether they're a drug addict, or because we have a lot of that here. When I take Kitten to walk in the park, there's about 7 or 8 crackheads who will be at the park smoking crack in the daylight. They don't bother me. They know me, and when I first ran into them, of course, I made a beeline to them because I'm like, black people in the park, what? What's going on? And they were over there smoking crack. I immediately started praying the Lord's Prayer. Whatever that demon is, I don't want it on me. Okay? And but that's a part of the culture here in Seattle that nobody talks about. It's just drugs. There's so much of it here. People use all kinds of drugs here in the Seattle area. Then they go hiking. Then they go get on their motorcycle and ride. They've got a lot of money, and they spend that money on boats, motorcycles, and dope. That's what they do here. There's so many millionaires here in this county, and they are not they're not good stewards of their money, and they're slowly killing themselves. And the thing that I love about them is they don't include me in it. I have a next door neighbor who smokes weed like a chimney. She's a woman. She's not black, She smokes weed like a chimney. and I just completely ignore her. And it used to be a problem where she just wanted, to be, and I'm like, look, I work for such a place. I am not going to jeopardize my job because smoking weed is still against federal law. The state may have said that you could do that, but federally, it's still illegal, and you're not going to expose me to that. So she started giving me attitude and that's another one. The drug users versus non-drug users. Most of the drug users don't care, but okay, all right. It was great talking to you, though. What can you say? Non-weed smokers versus weed smokers. The people who smoke weed here some of them don't like the people who don't smoke weed here. So I guess that would be a difference between city workers, county workers, and federal workers. Did I say state? So state employees, city employees, county employees, and federal employees. And as a federal employee, let me tell you, I'm very serious about my job. I'm very serious about my job. As working for the state, I couldn't do it. I tried to work for the state. It did not turn out well. So there's a what can you say? A difference, something with state workers and federal workers cannot intertwine because federal workers are under a different mandate than state workers are. And where a state employee would not be impacted by associating with a federal employee would have a problem associating with a state employee, and especially if the state employee smokes weed, which is legal for the state, but it is illegal on a federal level. So if you're around somebody who's smoking weed, you went to lunch with this person and they smell like weed, you come back to your federal job and they smell weed on you, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. That's the way it is. That is the way that it is, That's the world that we live in. You can't ignore it, And again, that goes back around to what I was saying in my class yesterday with dealing with racism. You cannot stick your head in the sand and be like, it's not happening. I'm going to ignore it and just keep moving forward. That was a fellow student in class yesterday who said to me, you can't just let them get in the way of your... He wanted me to stay in the class. I'm not staying in the class to provide another opportunity for somebody else to do something and be like, oops. Remove the stumbling block from a person. If you know that a person cannot handle their liquor, do not be drinking in front of that person. Take the liquor out of their purview so they can't see it, so that they won't be tempted. I was the only Black person in class yesterday. And all yesterday, there was no problem. Day one, no problem. Day two, it's a problem. Day two, it's a problem because they want to know what kind of a Black person I am. It's none of their business. I'm in class. Okay, I'm in class to get the information, to pass this test, to get my license, period. That's it. I don't want to be anything else with them. I don't. That's just me. I wouldn't have went to the class if the Office of the Insurance Commissioner had not said, you have to do this. Okay. The insurance commissioner said I needed 20 hours in class. So I said, fine, I will do this. That's why I did it. It wasn't so that I can make friends or network with anybody or anything like that. My pathway is already set. It's already set. I did not go to class and it's like, oh, okay, well, let me see what you doing or what you doing or what you doing so I can get ideas about what I need to do. No, no, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, to be honest about it, I wrote the Office of the Insurance Commissioner years ago, 10, maybe 11 years ago. And he gave me permission, or the insurance commissioner at the time gave me permission to self-study to get my license. So I couldn't do it because I was still raising my kids and working full time and running here and there. I got one kid in track. It was too much. So I didn't have time to study, much less drive down to Olympia to take the test. So I wasn't able to do it. Over these last few years, even when I was in Baghdad, I was still studying. I was still looking into it. It was still on the back burner of my mind. And even in Baghdad, I was working 15 hours a day, every day, 7 days a week, 90 days on, 30 days off. And this was still a to-do item. This isn't something that I just picked up last month. This has been years in the making for me to get to this point. It did not happen within a 2-week time frame. This has been years and years and years and years of thought, contemplation, and trying to get this done. And this is the closest that I've gotten, and had to get onto another road because I do not want to be in a situation where I'm being abused trying to get this done, because that's what it is. It's abuse. It's like being in a domestic violence situation. You're trying to do what you need to do, and this person need to be doing what they're trying to do, and they just feel that they can expose you to an inner layer of them that you really don't need to see. Even being married 30, 40 years, I knew wives who had been married 50 years and their husband never saw them undress, never saw them brush their teeth, never saw them make a BM. Okay? And by saying, some people think that because there's so much black on black hate that you think all you have to do is say something hateful towards black, and then all the other blacks will just gravitate towards you like, oh, you my kind of people. And yes, there are some black people who love racist white people, racist white people who are racist against anybody, because they're very simple. They're very simple. They're very easy. All you have to do is say pro-white stuff, pro-white thought, and these people will just take you into their bosom. It's so easy. They're not deep at all. You ain't got to know their likes and dislikes, favorite color. Oh, they like lavender. Their favorite childhood memory is looking for seashells with their mom. Nope. Racists are so easy. They're like a single cell microorganism, honey. And the same way with black racists. They are not complex at all. And that's why a lot of people like them. That's why racism is still prevalent. You're not trying to encourage people to be deep, to be three-dimensional. They're single cell microorganisms. Very simple. Very easy. Okay. Same way with people who are greedy. They're just about money. They're just about stuff. They don't think about love. They don't think about consequences. They don't think about repercussions or accountability. They just want money. They don't care how. They don't care when. They just want it. They will break the law to get it. They will steal to get it. They will murder to get it, because all they care about is money. That's how some people are. That's why some people like those kind of people, because they're easy to manipulate. They're easy to control because they're super duper simple. It's easy to dominate them. And even when they think that they're in control, just like Trump, he thinks he's in control. He's not. He thinks he is. He even tries to manipulate and bully people that he feels he's superior to, and that is the pretentious climbers, people who are so enthralled with celebrity. They don't like Trump. What they like is that he's a celebrity, that he was on The Apprentice, that he has a bajillion Twitter followers. These people are people who are just enthralled with fame. And it used to be, let me tell you something. I'm from Texas. Used to be, Hicks never would have voted for somebody like Trump. But here's the deal. Reagan made it in. And let me tell you something, it was a very bitter pill to take because he was an actor, not a lawyer. He was an actor. And people were ashamed of that. They were ashamed of that. But then they started to realize that Americans were not of the same caliber that they used to be. So many drug addicts, Ronald Reagan was a screen actor. He came out of Hollywood. He wasn't he wasn't a Frank Sinatra. He wasn't a A-lister or anything like that. Very mediocre. And he's the one who was, who kind of paved the way for Donald Trump to make his way in there. There was plenty of people that said to Trump, you should run for president. You should run for president. You should run for president, And that's why he ran. That's why he ran, because he had a lot of supporters before. People are trying to get a handle on this understanding of Twitter and Facebook and, YouTube, social media, trying to understand what this means and how does it translate in the political world. And they're still trying to figure it out. But one thing that they did not expect is for Trump to be an asshole. Trump has did things that even racist KKK members would not do or say. Racist KKK members in the state of Texas do not support Trump. They think that he's an idiot. Okay? There are racist people right here in King County who do not support Trump, but they don't understand the Twitter thing. They don't understand this whole thing with social media, which they feel like vampires filled with the cross. They don't want no part of it because they don't want to be like this Anthony Weiner. They don't want to be like, because these are regular people. They don't want to be caught out here, with their fingers in the cookie jar, because people make mistakes and they feel like the more you're on social media, the more likely you are to get caught doing something horrible. The way that a lot of bills and a lot of bills become law. It's not because it's the right thing, but it's because you can get somebody's vote because their secret. Their secret. And a lot of people are thinking that that's the reason why Putin has Trump by the frijoles, is because he has some information on Trump. And if Trump says anything against him, he will expose him and destroy him. Why? Because that's the way it's always been done. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So, do I think that Trump is a racist? Nope. I don't think he's a racist. I think that he is greedy. I think that he's all about the money. And he's trying to amass more and more and more money so that he can give money to Barron when Barron comes of age so that they can keep this thing going. That's a part of his whole thing. His whole thing with Russia may not even be a P tape. It might be a business deal. That's what it might be about, a business deal. And so that Trump never has to file for bankruptcy again. You know, that's what it's about. Let me tell you something I was embarrassed about. Melania. When they showed Melania standing in front of the Queen and her butt in that skirt, I said, how can she be the first lady and her clothing does not fit right? It did not make a nice line. It did not. She looked horrible. And nobody's talking about it. I was embarrassed for her. You know, how could she put that on and turn her behind to the mirror and not see that that's not okay? Her body is going through some changes, and the clothes that she had don't fit appropriately. And that was a bad choice. I think she chose it for the color. Yeah, I think she chose it for the color in front of the Queen, wanting to follow the royal protocol, but it was ill-fitting, and it was a bad choice. It was a bad choice. So definitely, when Trump did a confidential 2-hour meeting with Putin, I just thought John Kelly has really stepped into it. John Kelly just blew up his mission. He just epic fail on his mission. That meeting should have never happened. Putin can say anything now, and it would be up to Trump to try to, say no, that didn't happen. But Putin can say anything happened in that 2 hours. He had sex with Trump. He had Trump raped by some people. Trump got high. Trump snorted cocaine. He could say anything. That's something that shouldn't have happened. John Kelly, as a chief of staff, you don't let nothing like that happen. Oh, that was horrible. The other thing was Trump not doing enough research on being in the presence of the Queen, how to behave. But then again, Barack Obama, who was very nervous in front of the Queen, made a mistake, a huge mistake, giving a toast during the anthem. That was funny. Okay. It just shows that he's a human being. Trump is a human being as well. Trump should not be the human being in the Oval Office, that's for sure. But anyway, I gotta go. It's almost to an hour, and I really need to start studying because I have to do 20 hours in this before I take my test on Friday, and I've already scheduled it, so I don't have any more time to waste. I have an appointment today at 10, so I have that to do. So I'm gonna have to get to work. I gotta log in and all of that. So that is what I'm going to do. Like I said, I want to do this live for and then What else happened? The lady in Kent called the police on me while I was out doing my job. Kent police told me that they were crazy and for me to be aware, and they kind of gave me a map of where the insane people are located in Kent. So that was very good to them. So because she called the police on me, I was able to make some more friends. And then, somebody sent me an article about, this 49-year-old black man who's moving his family out of America because of the racism. Very wealthy man, and a lot of black people are slowly moving because of racism. So it is what it is, honey. It is what it is. Tukwila police.